This is the Original Sin, the Collective Intelligence Network. And welcome to the Collective Intelligence Network. Hello, sinners, my Collective Intelligence Network agents. Welcome to another episode. In this episode, I'd like to talk to you today about the most profound thing I have ever read. And I don't say that very lightly at all, because what I read was really quite confrontational in terms of what would that world even look like. So, just to give you a bit of a backstory, some years back, there was a Dr. Michael Mosley who recently passed, and he was doing an interview on intelligence, and he was talking with a gentleman by the name of Christopher Langan. And he's apparently the smartest man in America. He's got an IQ of like 190, 200, thereabouts. And during the interview, he decided to drop the name of a website. And being the curious type of person that I am, I thought I would go and have a look at this website. And I went to the website and found that it was a closed private group. And so I gave a bit of an elevator pitch on an idea or a concept that I came up with respect to a landmine eradication initiative, and I was accepted into the group. Now, in this group, in the gallery section, there was a picture of a gentleman. His name is Richard Buckminster Fuller, and he was born around 1891 and died about 1980 or something like that. And he was an American architect. He did a lot of dome-shaped buildings, and he was also a bit of an inventor. And there was a quote that he had, and I will be sharing the picture and the quote in this video at some point. I'll cut and splice it in. I'm not sure how the audio will work over the top of that, but let's just find out anyway. It's all part of the journey that I'm embarking upon with this new Collective Intelligence Network channel. I digress. And what I would like to quote or paraphrase roughly is what Richard Buckminster Fuller had actually said, which is aligned with the most profound thing I've ever read. So effectively what he said was, we need to get rid of this specious notion that everybody needs to get a job to make a living. We have inspectors of inspectors and people who make tools for the inspectors. The fact is, 1 in 10,000 of us can support the rest of us. The real business of people should be thinking about what it was they're interested in as children. Mind blown, right? That's just, who even thinks like that? Who even talks like that? And as we all know, with an innovation effectively is one idea and another idea. Bring both those ideas together and come up with a new idea. So thinking along those lines, with this idea that Richard Buckminster Fuller, don't you just love that name? Richard Buckminster Fuller came up with, and what we have at the moment with the proliferation of AI and all the talk that's out there around AI taking people's jobs and those sorts of things, which potentially could be quite true. However, I've also heard that there's going to be a lot more efficiency, a lot more production, and a lot more wealth generated, to the extent potentially that we will be able to think about what it was we're interested in as children if money is distributed fairly enough so that people can move forward on Maslow's pyramid of hierarchy, so that they've got their basic needs met in terms of accommodation and food, shelter, those sorts of things. And we move up to self-actualization, which I guess would be our goal. And also in this model that Mr. Fuller had put forward and presented, where people could just think about what it was they're interested in as children, then that potentially could be a way to amalgamate these two frames. That is, the world of AI and the benefits it can bring humanity, provided we navigate a path that will enable that. That's part of what this channel is hopefully going to be doing, is creating that pathway, a neural pathway, in that it's a human intelligence neural pathway combined with an AI integration, so that we can benefit humanity and work through wicked problems and resolve them in intelligent sort of ways, which I'm quite confident we can do. So I believe at this moment in time, we're at quite a juncture in human history, and that is, we're on the precipice of monumental change. And I'm seeing a few signposts or a few flags, as it were, that give me some potential indicators on where we are heading as a society, which does give me some cause for concern. However, it also ties into something a little bit like simulation theory. And let me elaborate on those thoughts. So I remember when I was at school, there was a lot of mental arithmetic that used to be done. And then with the advent of calculators, people no longer had to think so much mentally in terms of doing mental calculations and adding up figures and numbers in their head. And this is confirmed, which I'm sure you could confirm yourself when you go into the shop and hand over some cash and just see if people can actually do the calculation in their head, or see if you can do the calculation in your own head, or whether it's something that has to be added up and calculated, as it were, before they would confidently give you your change back. So given this history with what happened when we had the advent of calculators in mainstream society, I'd use another analogy and then think along the lines of AI. Now, AI is projected to be way more intelligent than any individual and way smarter than any individual. And I can see a point in time where people would start to think, well, this AI is way more intelligent than I am, which it would be. So therefore, I'm not really going to bother thinking about something. I'll let the AI come up with the answer or do the thinking for me. And that's a problem for humanity and society. And also, given the way things are evolving, and how I mentioned earlier about the concept of simulation theory, and how I talked about Richard Buckminster Fuller and his concept of people thinking about what it was they're interested in as children, I can see a side wherein augmented reality and being able to go into a simulated world wherein you're the king or queen of your own domain, so that you're online and your avatar is moving in this space and interacting with other people / avatars. And I know that there's many big brands who have actually already invested in NFTs, or non-fungible tokens, which is a digital asset, so that people, when they're in this online space, would be able to have the authentic brand name that's associated with that particular luxury brand, and it's authenticated, so it's not a copy. and that would then be another world where people could be living in. And the real world is, as we know, is harsh, and reality on the streets is not pleasant an experience for many people. Whereas the allure of being in your own private world that you've created and everybody loves you, and even consider, say you really love jazz and you could open up your own jazz shop where people could subscribe to come to your jazz hangout, pay $1 a month, whatever the case may be, and you've got 1 million people who come in and out. You could be making serious coin in this environment, online, interacting with millions and billions of people in another reality. And then as we progress with technology and as we're electrical beings, I think there'll be technology that would replicate our reality a lot, so that when we're in these virtual worlds, we would almost feel like we're there. And the allure of that would be very attractive and something that would be very compelling as well. And so that's something I can see being on the horizon, and how that can be incorporated and amalgamated, or even is that something that we need to be talking about? Or is it just going to happen? So you can see, my sinners, that these are some very vexing problems, and also big discussions are required around these things. And I now put it to you to come up with your own insights and observations and suggestions for what these things might mean. What do you make of Richard Buckminster Fuller's saying, which I'll try and put right here? And what do you think that world would look like? Could you elaborate on those thoughts? Come up with ways where people can feel like they're contributing to society? Are we heading down the augmented reality path where hordes of people will be living within their own room effectively, but living connected to others in that capacity, which is a strange reality when you think of it in contemporary 20th and 21st century type thinking. However, that may not be the case for time moving forward. I've also come up with a few more acronyms. As we know from one of my earlier videos, I do like acronyms. And so these ones got me up early in the morning, so I've decided we need a church. And so a church stands for Cyborg Humans Using Reasoning Collectively Harnessed. And then the other thing I have are saints. Who doesn't love a saint? So a saint is a suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts. So suggested artificial intelligence network thoughts. So when we get all our contributions into the spittoon, all the spits into the spittoon, so that's our solving problems with individual thought, put them in the spittoon, the comment section, then we can get AI to go through and have a look at these different things that have been put in by everybody. Please subscribe and do contribute to this channel to help it grow into the platform I hope it one day will be, which will be something that as a society and as humanity be a very valuable tool wherein all of us are smarter than one of us, as we know, and we collectively can come up with some very brilliant solutions to some very, very wicked problems. And on that note, I will see you on the next one. Thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Bye now.